What is poppin' YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Avengers Endgame. So we are less than 1 month until you can go and watch Avengers Endgame, which is going to be absolutely sick. So we are giving away an Infinity Gauntlet on this channel at the end of the month. It'll be running through to this Sunday, and I'll pick the winner on the 1st of April. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel with notifications on and let me know down below what is your favorite moment from trailer 1, from the Super Bowl TV spot, from trailer 2, from all the other crazy TV spots that they revealed over the last couple of days. So Avengers Endgame will be 3 hours and 2 minutes long, which makes it the longest Marvel movie ever. But that's not news, guys, because I literally said that months ago, and some people in the comment section will be like, yo, Warstu, you're always saying when you're right. So, yeah, because you guys tell me when I'm wrong, so I tell you when I'm right. And I was definitely right. You cannot have a movie that's going to wrap up 10 years of the MCU. It's going to wrap up 20 plus movies, and you can't do it in 2 hours and 45 minutes because this movie has to wrap up everything. It has to set up the next phase, has to leave us on that cliffhanger for Spider-Man Far From Home. So, courtesy of my researcher, we are going to go over a potential plot leak that I've not seen anywhere because I was sent this today, so let's go over it. And yes, it is Reddit, but technically 4chan, but it is pretty interesting. So, original tech. I have a good chunk of information regarding the first 2 acts of Avengers Endgame. The first act of the movie isn't very action heavy, but moves very quick and covers a lot of ground, which, yeah, I think that's pretty true because Avengers Infinity War moved so fast that it didn't even feel like it was a 3-hour movie. The whole opening scene is a spiritual reimagining Tony Stark escape from the cave. He uses pieces of Nebula to repair the ship and escape to Earth. Title card. Thanos is on Titan 2 alone and meditating. Gamora appears to speak with him. She forgives him for his actions and apologizes for her own. Gamora disintegrate to reveal he is using the gauntlet to do some weird ass puppet show for himself. With the image of Gamora, this shows the audience that while the gauntlet still works. That's pretty interesting because the Russo bros, yeah, it doesn't really matter what the Russo bros says, does it, guys? Because let's be honest, they don't want to ruin the movie for us, so we can't really say the line. They just don't want to ruin their own movie for us. Ant-Man is falling through the quantum realm. He trips through time, seeing the past and future laid out before him. He sees himself becoming Ant-Man, going to prison, and even gets a glimpse of his daughter years down the road. See, that's probably, yeah, that will happen because they did cast an older Cassie Lang, which everyone thought would be for some variation of that, so that's quite interesting. He tries to exit the realm as close to the present as possible, but lands a couple weeks later than intended. How convenient. He exits on the roof next to the van and hymns equipment. No one seems to be seen because obviously the world's being decimated. The world's being fingered by finger snapped by Thanos, obviously. So yeah, this, I don't know, there's some precedents to this. After some NY New York City post-snapping establishing shots, we catch up with Captain America and War Machine at the Snap support meeting, which could be the scene we've seen in the first trailer. This scene makes it clear that Cap is absolutely no intention of moving on. But then in the trailer, it's like, some people don't move on, but not us, but not us, bananas. You know the scene where the kind of, it comes over on YouTube, Texas, bananas, that kind of scene, so pretty cool. Thor has found a new place for his people to live, and Rocket has joined him, as Rocket doesn't really have anyone else. That's pretty cool because I really like the Thor and Rocket scenes. I think Thor should join Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That would be pretty awesome. Short Valkyrie cameo. Here, Thor wants to find Thanos as soon as possible and avenge the dead by killing him. Valkyrie insists it's dangerous for the Avengers to strike back before they're ready. It's at this point that Rocket receives a signal from the Benatar, headed towards Earth. So that's obviously Tony Stark with Nebula. He and Thor intercepts the ship as it lands. Rocket is super bummed to see that everyone but Nebula is dead. He comments on Stark's impressive modifications of the ship, and the two hit it off immediately. So that's pretty cool because Rocket's like the weapons expert. Tony's like just a borderline genius on making anything. Widow and Banner speak at Avengers headquarters. They still aren't really sure where they stand with each other. Steve and War Machine eventually join the group at the HQ. Steve and Natasha want to try to do something to avenge the dead. War Machine and Banner are ready to give up and don't believe anything can be done. Tony makes a stop at home to see Pepper. He makes it clear that he needs to fix what happened, and she has to accept it. He leaves. A computer alarm sounds at Avengers HQ, and the group go to see that Fury's beacon has stopped transmitting, the message that led them to it. In the first place, Marvel shows up looking for Fury, and they begin to explain things to her. See, this is very interesting because obviously we've seen this, we've seen a scenario of this in the Captain Marvel post-credit scene that was directed by the Russos. So yeah, I really hope it doesn't pan out like it did in the post-credit scene, because I think that scene was just fabricated for the post-credit scene. But it does make sense, like I've said in multiple videos, that Captain Marvel would show up in the first act. But I do believe she's not going to be that pinnacle for the movie, because they said in Empire magazine and Endless Time that it's going to focus on the original Avengers. Tony, Thor, Nebula, and Rocket approach the Avengers HQ. Thor senses an Infinity Stone nearby, and they prepare for a fight with Thanos as they soar into the compound. Marvel engages in a skirmish with the understandably trigger-happy Tony and co. before Steve, War Machine, and Widow break up the fight. Thor tells the rest that Marvel gives off the same energy as an Infinity Stone. Banner asks her if he can take some scans. So obviously her powers were from essentially the Space Stone, I guess you could say. But that is interesting, because obviously they were taking scans of Vision, but that was Shuri. So obviously they will have a good understanding. They're going to have an understanding of the stone that Vision have, and now they're going to have an understanding, because obviously Captain Marvel's powers essentially run off the Space Stone, kind of, but it's not really that, I guess you could say, obvious at the moment. Tony and Steve reunite. They don't speak about their differences, only engaged in an awkward small talk. Thor expresses his wishes to go after Thanos, and Tony doesn't think it's worth the risk. Tony explains that he wants to fix things just as badly as they all do, but he's made the mistake of running into things head first too many times, and if they are going to attempt anything, it needs to be done carefully. The next day, Ant-Man shows up at the Avengers HQ. His daughter and family have disappeared, and he's freaked out. War Machine makes a joke about how many people have showed up at the door in the last day. They tell Ant-Man what happened with Thanos. Ant-Man explains the breakthrough they had with the quantum realm. Scott is convinced that they can go back in time to change the event of the past and stop Thanos, which would be pretty damn cool if they could do that. But Tony makes it clear that changing the past drastically is too dangerous, just like it is in the Flashpoint, if you've ever read that. If you like DC, but I know a lot of people on this channel don't. Ant-Man is hysterical and begs Tony to try anything, telling him about how he saw his older daughter in the quantum realm and believes that some reality where she is alive must exist. This strikes a chord with Tony. Banner finished analyzing his scans of Marvel and speaks with Tony. He tells him that Captain Marvel is almost a perfect replica of an Infinity Stone herself, even more powerful than Scarlet Witch, and this leads Tony to the idea that he may be able to replicate the stones with the right tech. This would enable them to retrieve the stones in the past without dramatically or drastically upsetting the space-time continuum. Guys, I know you hate me for saying this, but I literally made a theory video about this about a month ago, and now I am literally seeing the replication of the stones that me and my research guy came up with. Guys, seriously, I mean, I honestly think this is the only way they can do it, because if you've read Flashpoint, if you change a timeline in the past, it will have repercussions in the future. So obviously, in the sense of Flashpoint, Barry stops his mother from being killed, and then it changes the future and everything changes. So no, they cannot do that. They cannot snap and grab all the stones. So something like this, but I'm not saying I was the first person to say it, guys, but literally the theory I put out there that was a collab with my research person literally is everywhere now. So yeah, I do believe this is going to happen, but I put it out there and now it is literally everywhere, which is very interesting, like absolutely everywhere on all the big comic book websites. I'm not talking about YouTube videos. I'm talking about big comic book websites. It's like, it is pretty interesting, but guys, give props where props is due if you did. Tony goes to Wakanda with Banner, Marvel, Rocket, Nebula, and War Machine to look into some of Shuri's research and her scans of Vision. Remember, Shuri has disappeared. Yeah, she wasn't dusted. They are able to get some useful information that will help them create something to control the stones. M'Baku pledges to help them should they need arise. Tony asks him to continue using their tech to help the world deal with the repercussions of the snap. The rest of the group go a look for Clint. They run into him showing off his new combat skills as Ronin. They manage to recruit him. On Titan 2, Thanos has another conversation with young Soulstone Gamora. She shows him all of the stones he snapped. Now the group began to plan their assault on Thanos. The plan is to copy each of the stones in the past via the quantum realm and form a new gauntlet. Literally, I'll post a video at the end where I literally went over this theory, my own idea that's somehow appeared in this plot leak. The info from Shuri's computer helps them understand how to build a receptacle for the stones. Captain Marvel's composition allows them to understand how to copy the stones. Once they get the new gauntlet, they will undo the snap and then attempt to kill Thanos to keep him from doing damage. Now, this is Marvel, this is Disney, they're not into decapitation, they're not into killing people, so will they kill Thanos? Hopefully not, because he's so cool. Yeah, no, he's not cool, but I don't think they should kill him off, really, because Thanos versus Galactus in the future would be awesome variation. That would be cool. Ant-Man will help one team enter the quantum realm, and Marvel will help the other team pass through it. We get a time skip montage that brings us into the second act of the movie or the film. They aren't explicit about how long the skip is, but it isn't nearly as long as the other leaks have suggested, maybe a few weeks max. Oh, very coy, saying it isn't as long as the other leaks to make you think this is real. But like I said, guys, take it with a pinch. So, I mean, this plot leak is realistic. It has some decent kind of flow. In the montage, Tony reworks some old tech with the Banatar and Rocket to make devices for copying the stones. They also make suits for everyone. We get a sneak peek at the War Buster armor. Cap gets his shield back. Before they set off, there are some character moments. Thor and Ronin discuss the loss of their families. Natasha and Banner talk about Banner being unable to summon Hulk. They're talking about Hulk like he's a spirit from Final Fantasy. He doesn't summon Hulk. It's not like he summons him like he's a spirit from Final Fantasy. I mean, if you play Final Fantasy, it's not like the spirits within the movie. I mean, summons Hulk. He doesn't summon Hulk. He brings Hulk out, but I guess technically you could say it is a variation of summoning. Tony and Steve have an awkward conversation about working together. The teams head out in two groups. One will get the Space and Mind Stone, and one will get the Reality and Power Stone. They will regroup after that and move on to the final two stones. Space and Mind, Tony, Ant-Man, War Machine, Natasha, Banner, the Battle of NYC. The Tesseract is in plain sight. Mind Stone is literally inside Stark's tower at one point, with only Loki defending it. See, this is a cool plot leak. Why? Because no one seems to mention Loki, who is literally the best character in this whole franchise. Yes, I just said that out loud on my YouTube channel. Yeah, Loki's so cool. So this is literally one of the first plot leaks that mentions Loki. Now, I don't believe this. I don't think Loki is going to have such a minor role that he's only in the first part of the movie, realistically. Banner is tasked with copying the Tesseract while Natasha and War Machine help defend it. Banner suggests to bring out the Hulk still, and Natasha tries to help, but is unsuccessful. Tony and Ant-Man go after Loki and the Scepter, running into past Cap, who they had a brief comedic interaction with. They disarm Loki immediately after his conversation with past Tony, copy the Scepter before giving it back to him, much to his surprise, evacuating the situation after copying stones to the shock of past characters becomes a bit of a running joke. Banner comes face to face with past Hulk. After Hulk saves him from the T'Chari, they share a silent state and Banner has some kind of visible mental epiphany. With both stones copied, they ditch the city, much to the confusion of the old Avengers. Reality and Power Stone, Thor, Cap, Marvel, Rocket, Clint, Natasha, Rocket, Thor combine the knowledge and tell them that there were two stones on nowhere at one time. They intercept the Guardians, showing the stones to the Collector and demanded he bring the Reality Stone. He brings them to the massive receptacle. He keeps the Reality Stone in, and they prepare to copy the stones. Unfortunately for them, they still need to deal with Ronan. Rocket figures that preventing him from showing up entirely will affect the time-space continuing too much. Marvel, Thor, Rocket, Natasha fight alongside the past Guardians to hold back Ronan army while the stones are copied, mostly playing defense. So, as not much changes in the past, Ronin and Cap defend the stones up close and personal. They manage to copy the stones and abandon the Guardians, much to their confusion. During the copying scene, we see Thanos on Titan 2. While the stones are being copied, the stones in his gauntlet begin to flicker as they are being activated. Thanos notices this and he puts on the gauntlet. And he pauses for a moment and says, "Start." The group meet back at the Avengers HQ on the way through the quantum realm. Tony sees that he and Pepper have a daughter in the future. Oh, could this be Catherine Longford's character? Oh, in the future. How far in the future? Does this mean Tony doesn't die? Confirmed? Oh my god, if they've had a baby in the future, how could he see that? That means if it's in the future, it's still going to be the same future, which means he wouldn't die. I don't know, I'm just theorizing here. Anyway, they repair equipment and Cap congratulates Tony on a clever plan. They send Thor and Cap to go find Wong for the next phase of the plan. Natasha and Banner discuss Hulks. Banner realizes that he has not been appreciated of the Hulk saving his ass and treats him like a child. Tony goes home to see Pepper before the final mission. He is attacked by several Outriders at his home, which does correspond with a Lego toy leak. He kills them and rushes back to the Avengers HQ. Cap and Thor are also attacked while recruiting Wong. Everyone returns to HQ. Thanos attacks. Oh my god. Does this mean my theory was right that Thanos is attacking Avengers HQ in the first trailer? Well, yeah, it does look that way to me, but obviously they're editing out. Thanos is kicking ass. Marvel holds their own. Banner merges to Hulk out. And even the odds. Wong tricks Thanos and traps him in an alternate dimension. He's clear that it won't hold Thanos for long. The group begin hunting the last 2 Infinity Stones. After this, unsure what happens past this point. No! Oh my god, Warstu, is this correct? I don't know, guys. I don't work for Marvel. And if I did work for Marvel, I'd be under a non-disclosure agreement, so I couldn't even say it if I did, but I don't. See, this is pretty cool for the first act. Second act, I mean, you could say, oh my god, there is no Doctor Strange, but this is the first and second act, so obviously he's still dusted, so there is some kind of, I guess you say, precedent. Now, we do know due to Empire Magazine that the dusted characters are inside the quantum realm. My only squirm with this is, if they've been through the quantum realm, surely they'd see the dusted characters at some point somewhere. Now, a lot of this could be theorized. I mean, the fact that copying the stones is literally a theory that me and my research team, my research guy, I guess you could say, put out a bunch of time ago, and it's literally everywhere online now. So that is very interesting. But yeah, if this was true, I'd be happy with this, because obviously they're gonna have to go back, they're gonna have to copy the stones, they can't take them, because, you know, if you're a comic book fan, if you use this channel, you know about Flashpoint, you know how it messes the timeline up, you know how it messes the future up. And if they are going to go down that route, that is how they could introduce literally anyone. Wolverine could appear in Avengers Endgame. No, that's just silly, but he could. So could Galactus, so could Doctor Doom, so could every X-Men, so could Magneto, so could Warstu, so could Doctor Doom, so anyone could in theory, if you want to go down that route, because obviously Disney own Fox now. So in theory, every single character could appear in this movie if they wanted to. No, because it's not a last minute job. It was wrapped a long time ago. The finished cut was finished a long time ago. We know it's over 3 hours long, but I told you literally about 6 months ago. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this plot leak. It's just a plot leak. We love doing on this channel. Why? Because you guys seem to love them. Pretty cool. I mean, this would be a cool first and second act. Boring in parts, but there is a lot of precedents. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that maybe this could be true. I still don't think it's going to be that simple, but it was a requested video, and I did quite like the ending to this. And Wong actually is going to be quite an important character in this movie. That's why we've not seen him in any of the promotional material. He's not dead. He's like still chilling, but he is going to be very important until Doctor Strange comes out of wherever he is, which is literally the quantum realm, because that was literally confirmed. Anyway, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.